She says, like she famously said on her story time that she asked me to leave her house for 32 times and then she hated me. I never knew that that's what had happened. The one day that we all remember collectively is the day she had to go to the police station to give her report or something. And the way she was hounded by the paps. You can see that they are pulling her hair, pulling at her clothes. And it was just the most dehumanizing thing that we could all visually see. And then when we were with her, she just broke down crying. Post the show that was filmed, every other person on that show was shown the cut other than Apoorva. Like everybody was well prepared of what was coming other than her. So I'm sure that if she was shown the cut and if she was aware of what was happening, it would have not even made it to the public. I remember when I was 19 and when I had just began, I used to feel very, very personally, like I used to take everything personally. Why are they calling me bald? Why are they calling me ugly? And I used to feel that way about myself, that I am bald, what the fuck yaar, kya zindagi hai, how ugly am I, nobody will ever fall in love with me, all of that. Because I used to base my sense of self off of the internet. It's a very unfair expectation of a journalist or of a writer or of a tastemaker to have the resources to display that level of taste. How on earth will I have the same money as a Suhana Khan as an Ananya Pandey? मतलब इन लोगों में इतनी क्रिएटिविटी भी नहीं है कि वो खुद के डायलॉग्स लिख लें. वो मेरे ही डायलॉग्स चोरी करके मेरी ही पिक्चर पे मेरे ऊपर ही वीडियो बनाते हैं, which is basically like a 2-minute ad on me.
Also recently, you had an altercation with Fukra.
2 years ago when I fought with Neha Bhasin, it was because she compared me to ISIS and the terrorists. Then when I fought with Manav and Unnati, it was because they were attacking my physicality and the way I am as a person. Then when I was now blasting on Fukra, it was because he was being homophobic. Firstly, he himself is blocked by me. When I found out that Triggered blocked me, I was like, इस दूसरे भाई को क्यों रखें, इसको मैं block कर देता हूँ. Before that show, we had a little altercation, whatever. मतलब उसी दिन, जिस दिन वो हुआ था, उस दिन मैंने उससे माफी मांग ली थी. उसी दिन.
He has said that Apoorva abused her first.
No. I'll tell you what the truth is.
He's sassy, he's funny, he's catty, he's bitchy, and he's unapologetic about all of that. And let me just tell you that when we saw him at the launch of the Traitors, we all were discussing that this guy is going to bring the house down, and he did. Sufi Motiwala in the house for this episode of Nayansense. Thank you so much.
Yes.
What's up?
I'm here to give you absolutely no sense, no brain, no filter, all the tea and
all
nothing
the tea.
but the tea.
But tell me something, Sufi. From the time I know you, I never thought that, like, we've had multiple discussions about, oh, Big Boss hone wala hai is saal and all of that, because last year also Big Boss mein your name was there. And you said, I am never going to do a reality show like that. What prompted you to do Traitors? See, Traitors is a limited edition thing, but it is still, there's a lot of Big Boss kind of energy.
In it, of course, but for me, the main differentiator was that it's not about my life. It's about the role that I'm playing, which is innocent or traitor. So most of even when you see the episodes, our private conversations have all been cut. They've only kept conversations that drive the game narrative, So how, they've not really established when me and Apoorva became best friends and all of that. It's all just shown very in passing because the show has been cut from a storyline perspective of कि हम narratives कैसे justify करें कि भाई ये जन ऐसे कैसे eliminate हो गया, ये shield कैसे जीत गया या whatever. Whereas in Big Boss, it's just voyeurism for 4 months and people are just todifying you in every way possible, and
But are you scared of that at all?
Yes, I don't think that, Sufi Motiwala to a certain extent has been just an extension of who I am as a person. It's not my full sense or who I am fully. Whereas on Big Boss, you can't play a character for 40 days, 120 days. You can't be, I can't be Sufi Motiwala for 120 days. And I don't want to show people.
Who's the real Sufi then?
I think the real Sufi is way more chiller, way more unbothered. Based on my Instagram, you'd think that I'm really passionate about these things and I really love fashion. I love fashion, but it's really not that serious. I don't take things that seriously in my personal life. And Big Boss is the place where everything is made to be the most serious incident in the world. So I really don't want to go there.
बहुत सारे लोग actually Big Boss से इधर भी थे. Did you bond with them at all?
Who were they?
Karan was there.
Karan, Jasmine.
Jasmine.
Yeah. Yeah, I did quite. I mean, me and Jasmine had a very frenemy-esque relationship on the show, but she's a sweetheart. So on the show, all the female cast members of the show really took a liking towards me because obviously Gaby of the set. So they all used to give me like little gifts and things. And so Jasmine gave me like this Gucci lip gloss and all of that.
How sweet.
So she's very sweet. So
Jasmine
you know,
is sweet, yeah.
yeah. So I bonded with all of them.
No, मुझे ये जानना है कि ऐसा कोई है जिसके बारे में आपका ओपिनियन पहले कुछ था और शो के बाद, शो करने के बाद, not now, just after you did the show, shot the show, you had a very different opinion about them.
I think for that I would have to give it to Raj Kundra, because before I entered the show I knew that Raj was going to be on the show, and in my head he was like this super villain, Mogambo Khushua type person, ke mask pehen ke, and he's just like, you know, very like, I used to be very intimidated by the idea of Raj Kundra. And then you can see on the first circle ke 20 log bol rahe hain, I'm scared of talking to Raj, I'm scared of accusing Raj, and then there's me like, so Raj, aap kyun nahi dar rahe hain? Like I was the only person who wasn't scared by him or anything, because honestly on the show he was very like,
but he's like that in real life.
yeah,
also.
he's just very like there.
Yeah.
And he's not that, I mean, villainous is the last thing I found in him. There's not even like personality utna ke aap villain tak pahuncho bhi. I think he needs to like,
but
stray away
Apoorva
from
and
that.
you
Yes.
apparently didn't like each other at all. She told me like, bro, we hated each other.
on the first 3 episodes, we just had a lot of past animosity that had bubbled up over time. Like she says, she famously said on her story time that she asked me to leave her house for 32 times and then she hated me. I never knew that that's what had happened. So I thought all was chill after that meeting with her. Then when I met her the second time at a Christmas party, she was like a massive biatch towards me. Like she was standing in front of the camera for like half an hour. She was not moving, and then she was like, हमें पैसे मिलते हैं ये सब करने के. And I was like, हमें पैसे नहीं मांगती ये सब चीज़ के. And then we hated each other, you know. Like she had a misconception of me, I had a misconception of her, and we entered the show like, fuck you. Like we hated each other. But then I think episode 4, which you've already seen.
अब जब तक आएगा तब तक सबने देख लिया होगा.
हाँ.
4, 5, 6.
Yeah, you can ask me questions on that as well. But from the 4th episode is when we became friends, and it's that moment lasts to date.
But why? What was that moment where you actually suddenly became friends? Is there like
So I always loved her as like the idea
personality.
of her and the kind she is. Like there's a famous thing that I used to say in between my friends that it's always the Sufi, never the Apoorva. Because she's so unabashed. Like if people think that I'm unapologetic and I'm unabashed, Apoorva is the standard
Epitome,
of truly
yeah.
an individualistic personality, which is really hot. Like I find that very like beautiful. And so even like with whatever interactions, I never had any animosity towards her. I hated her because of our communication gap and whatever, but I never hated her ke, oh, I hate the rebel kid. I think she hated me obviously, but like I mean, she's fully said, you judge fashion and all that. I'm like, okay girl, keep it cute, but but like after that, it's just a rock solid
ये
bronze.
32 बार क्या हुआ था? मतलब what is this 32 times that?
I think people forget that Apoorva is just like, जब
कलेश
आप एक
पगलू.
स्टोरी सुना रहे हो तो आपको ड्रामेटाइज तो करना ही पड़ेगा ना थोड़ा कुछ. Like you can't like just be like you can't just explain the things in mundanity. So of course she has to say it in a way that, oh, I overstayed my welcome at her house. There was no 32 times of her 32 times mentioning it to me to get out of my house. Or else I
stayed
would
at
have
her
left.
house?
No, I went to visit her for 1 hour. I was not even there for more than an hour. So like everybody like needs to chill out. Like it's not that like हर चीज जो इंटरनेट पे आप सुन रहे हो उसको एक literal sense में लेने की जरूरत ही नहीं है.
Yeah.
Would you ever tell someone 32 times to leave your house? I'm sure if someone is overstaying their welcome, after the 5th time you would just make peace with it कि हाँ भाई अभी ये मेरे घर पे है.
But this is before you guys went.
Yes, this is like 1 year before the show. So the timeline is, she's reiterated it on her YouTube, I'll just reiterate
Yeah,
it
because
here.
she's written in comments now.
Yes,
Because
the timeline
asking.
is, last year September is when we shot the show.
Yeah.
1 year before that is when we had originally met. We hated each other. Then we met again at this Christmas party that I told you, hated each other. Then we saw each other in passing at the Cosmopolitan Awards last year, did not interact with each other. Then we entered the show and hated each other still in the first 3 episodes. Then at the end of the 3rd episode during the mission, which they've all cut from the show, I actually like sprained my back and faint. and she was the only person who like was protecting me from the cameras, in the sense that she was telling these camera people, okay, don't record this. Okay, like we don't want this to be recorded and all that. We weren't allowed to do this, but we were looking inside the camera and saying, यहाँ से हटो, ये मत record करो, like ये सब record करने की क्या ज़रूरत है, whatever. And then while this was happening, she had like a whole moment of her own emotionally, and she broke down. And that's the episode where we both really bonded. Like I famously say that we trauma bonded. क्योंकि हमारे traumas बाहर निकल रहे थे, तो हमने एकदम latch कर लिया एक दूसरे के ऊपर. And I think that bond is still strong till today.
And you know, there was a time when
she was just calling right now.
There was a time she doesn't pick up our calls though.
Ooh.
Clearly, not doing my interviews. Never mind. What I want to say is that, you know, there was a point of time.
Shade. There should be a shade button in your interviews where you can just shade, pray.
But for the right reasons, not for any wrong reason. I feel like she went through a lot.
Yes.
Do I agree with what she said? Maybe not, as a person. But do I agree with what happened to her, the consequences? Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Okay. And I am not known to be a neutral person.
Of course.
And you know it. Like, I would say
it how it is.
As it is. You were there when she was going through that kind of a situation. You know, sometimes she comes across as this fierce person, but sometimes the fiercest of people really need care and love and concern, which you have given as a friend. If you can tell us, like, what were the terrible days that you had to like completely take her through, because she still has this like
I have chills literally thinking about it, because the one day that we all remember collectively is the day she had to go to the police station to give her report or something, and the way she was hounded by the paps. I think the paps of this country are truly nonsensical. Like, they have no sense of civic duty, they have no sense of appropriateness. They just have no sense. Like, you can see that they are pulling her hair, pulling at her clothes. And it was just the most dehumanizing thing that we could all visually see. And then when we were with her, she just broke down crying. Because like, imagine like people treating you as an object of entertainment, forgetting that there are true emotions in you as a human being. Like, of course, it's very entertaining seeing a national level controversy and how 5 people are being scapegoated for the sake of the betterment of the people in power. But like, it's not human. It's not like, I just think that most of these people are not living from their heart, and that's going to catch up to them sooner rather than later. And that was just a pure moment of helplessness for all of us. Like, imagine being in a room with someone who is experiencing that. What can you even say to make them feel better?
Yeah.
More than, I'm sorry you are going through this, or I'm sorry, or this will get over. Like, honestly, no matter how much all of us were there for her, we were only there for her physically. Mentally, she only has had to, you know, go through all the phases and all the emotions that she was feeling.
But Sufi, as a friend, you are also a very honest person. So, did you at least sit her down once and tell her that maybe what happened on the show could have also been the consequences were not wrong?
No, Nayandeep, I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why, Nayandeep. I never said that to her, because post the show that was filmed, every other person on that show was shown the cut other than Apoorva. Like, everybody was well prepared of what was coming other than her. So I'm sure that if she was shown the cut and if she was aware of what was happening, it would have not even made it to the public. Most of the jokes were cut. Most of the problematic jokes that were said by people were cut from that episode. So honestly, I think it was just naseeb. Like, matlab, it's just that, you know, आप कुछ चीजें नहीं avoid कर सकते अपने career में. Like, जब वो चीज हो जाती है, and honestly, I think it was also like, if you look at it rationally, that statement would have never even occurred if that person had not tried to antagonize her and her friend. So it's just bad timing, unfortunate that it happened. And I don't think, I would not want to beat her down when she's upset and tell her that, oh, it's okay that you're getting rape threats and acid threats, but you shouldn't have said that. You know, like, that's what it was for me. Because like, if whatever she had said was dealt with the severity of that much only, कि आपने जो ये कहा है ये गलत है, आपको female sexuality के बारे में ऐसे नहीं बात करना चाहिए or whatever.
Exactly.
And then she had apologized, it would have been perfect. It would have been no issues for anybody. But it became so nasty because the people made it nasty. The people never even looked into why she said that.
True.
It automatically became about, oh, she said that. You must think ना rationally कि एक औरत का इतना बुरा कुछ बोलने का कोई reason रहा होगा तभी वो कुछ ऐसा बोल रही है. And she's also 23. Imagine she's on a panel with like 30-year-olds, 35-year-olds who are, you know, blatantly attacking her. You can see in the episode also. They're calling her dumb, they're calling her whatnot. And then this random person who's supposed to be a contestant to you is also sitting and attacking you and saying whatnot to you. So, एक पॉइंट पे इंसान की हिम्मत भी तो टूटती है ना, वो डिफ्लेक्ट तो करेगा, वो कुछ तो करेगा अपने आप को, मतलब to make themselves feel better in a public situation like that. So I just think it was very unfortunate, and I think like we should just move on.
But as a creator, when you see somebody else, a fellow creator also going through such moments of helplessness, does it scare you? Because you also are very...
Of course, it scares me quite a lot, because if anybody faces the brunt of social media time and again, it's me. I know how like even the smallest thing can be twisted against you and used against you for time till the end of time. Which is why, you know, when she was planning her comeback and everything, I was very, very excited for her. And I think I was one of very few friends of hers who even put up a post like, you know, like, this is wrong. Like, you all shouldn't be able to, you know.
See that.
So, like, yeah, I was like very like, in...
Yeah, at that point, a lot of her friends also didn't come out in her support, and I did
Yeah,
see you.
so like, it was just like, I always tell her also, Apoorva, that Apoorva, we became friends on Traitors. So I have never become friends with the rebel kid. I'm not friends with the rebel kid. I'm friends with Apoorva Mukhija. And you're friends with Sufyan. So that needs to be the equation for the rest of our lives. Like, we can't let social media and what the people are thinking and what the people are saying to justify the barometers of our equation. Which a lot of people in our industry often do, Nayandeep, you know, like, जब आपका झंडा ऊपर है तो सब लोग को इंटरव्यू लेना है.
चढ़ते सूरज को सलामी.
हाँ, but I say this, चढ़ते सूरज को सब सलाम करते हैं, but डूबते सूरज के मजे भी सबको ही लेता है. You know, everybody sits and watches the sunset with a chai and a pakoda and everything. So everybody loves the demise of a public figure.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that you take away the fact that they're also a human being and you also treat them with the level of kindness and just basic civic humanity that they deserve, you know.
Sufi, you know, now I'm going to ask you a few questions which are possibly opinions of people, and I want you to react to them because these are strong opinions.
Yes.
You know, there's a difference between criticism and there's a difference between trolling. Sometimes you are criticizing somebody's attire or outfits, and that's something that a lot of people feel that, oh, you know, this, I'm sure you must have read it, that a lot of people feel that इसने तो अपनी पूरी career बना दी है लोगों को diss करते करते. What would you want to say to those people?
What is fashion journalism then? What is fashion journalism? What does Vogue magazine do? What does Vogue India do? It does the same thing I do. It tries to tell you what is happening in the world of fashion firstly, and frankly वो तो इतने मेरे से ज़्यादा sell out हो चुके हैं, वो तो अब opinion भी नहीं देते हैं. At least तुम्हें मेरे पेज पे एक opinion तो सुनने मिलता है कि क्या चल रहा है. If you remember the golden era of fashion when all these designers were up and coming, Andre Leon Talley, the person who was himself in Vogue, how brutal was he to the designers and to the celebrities? Am I even 10% of that? How brutal was Joan Rivers to these people? She used to call Christina Aguilera pregnant. She used to call Khloe Kardashian a man. Like, पहले तो the space of fashion exists because of conversation. If people stop conversing about fashion, fashion in itself loses itself. Because the reason it exists is because we keep talking about it.
Yeah.
Fashion exists तो otherwise करता ही है, रोज सुबह उठ के सब लोग कपड़े पहनते हैं. बट वो एक इंडस्ट्री क्यों है? क्योंकि हम उसे ग्लैमराइज करते हैं, हम उसके बारे में बात करते हैं, हम उसको एक पेडेस्टल पे रखते हैं कि दिस इज द फैशन इंडस्ट्री, दिस इज व्हाट वी स्टैंड फॉर. वरना तो मतलब कुछ है ही नहीं, कोई चीज का मतलब ही नहीं है. नथिंग इज दैट सीरियस. सो द पीपल हु थिंक दैट मैंने अपना करियर बना लिया है ओवर दिस, baby, that is what I wanted to do. I studied fashion communication because I wanted to do this. So don't think that it's lost on me that this is my career, because this is what I wanted it to be. I don't want to sit and write for a magazine that will pay me 50,000 for 1 month of me giving them my all. I get paid way more than that just for putting a story now and for having an identity of my own. So to heck with them.
But I want to understand that, has it ever happened after you becoming popular and your opinions becoming popular and popular among the normal audience? Has any celebrity ever reached out to you to just write a fake and pay to give you money? And
many people have reached out to us, telling us that, you know, saying that we'll pay you, say something positive about us. But we have two rules as a team when we get such offers. we do not accept an offer if I personally don't like the outfit. Now, let's say if there's an outfit that's sort of like a 7 also, but someone is coming in saying that we'll pay you. So then I'm like, okay, I didn't hate this outfit. I quite liked it. I enjoyed it. I don't mind saying that it's better. But if there's something that I just did not like, then I will not even talk about it. There have been many celebrities, like, for example, Moni Roy went to Cannes Film Festival, right? And I was requested by Moni Roy's team to do like a piece on her saying that I love her fashion and all of that. And she wore very good designers. She wore Alberta Ferrati. She wore like, I mean, I'm forgetting.
I loved
she was well dressed.
Yeah.
But her team was like, you need to compare her to other people and tell that she's better than all of them. So then I was like, I'm sorry, that's not acceptable. I'm not going to say all that because that's fake news. If I like someone's fashion and they say that, you know, hey, position us as good fashion people, I'm okay to do that because I also need my bills to get paid and I need to live a life and I also need to survive and make sure my family is living and my you know, younger brothers are educated and they get married off क्योंकि आप लोग तो नहीं करने वाले हो ये सब, मुझे ही करना है. So, of course, when they do reach out and it makes sense to us, we do accept it. But if it's something that otherwise organically मैं उसे बहुत बुरा बोलता और अब पैसे लेके अच्छा बोलने वाली बात है तो हम उसे सीधा ना ही बोल देते हैं. We are like, हम कवर ही नहीं करेंगे, हम कुछ बुरा भी नहीं बोलेंगे ताकि आपको बुरा ना लगे और हम कुछ अच्छा भी नहीं बोलेंगे ताकि मेरे एथिक्स को बुरा ना लगे.
But ऐसा और कोई मोमेंट आया है जहाँ पे you completely like, if anybody reached out to you and you're like,
I've said no to many people.
That you hated, like कि no, मुझे पसंद ही नहीं आया और फिर भी बोला गया कि please. Right?
Yeah. All these people like your Deepti Sindhwani and like the weird people that end up at these high profile events, they always reach out to us, but we always say no. Because we're like, A, organically we would not have covered you because you don't make sense on our page and to my sensibilities of fashion. And B, what you're wearing is not something that I want to promote. Because A, it's not original, it's a knockoff design of things that already exist. So most of these requests come from people who I anyway would not talk about. So it's an automatically no. The few times that it happens that there's a synergy, like, oh, we might have talked about this anyway and all of that, then we take these creative decisions. Varna, mostly we try to work with brands. We try to work with, like, you know, companies where we don't have to be a sellout. We just have to promote. कि ये खरीद लो, ये ले लो, ये कर लो, ये पहन लो. हम किसी को मतलब कुछ किसी का narrative नहीं change कर रहे. We're just trying to push a product. My brand deals, I usually try to make it in a way that that's what I'm doing.
There's also a conversation, like, if you must have read, I've seen you also react to some of the comments on social media where people like, people have started making your kind of videos on your outfits and then like, oh, look what he's wearing, 0 on 10, minus on 10. How does he even have the guts to come and, you know, rate other people? What would you have to say to that?
Firstly, how pathetic to think that they think that they're iconic, copying my format, using my face and generating 2 million views for me. Baby, I see that not a single follower of yours is growing, but mine are, because you're giving me free promotion. So I'm okay with that. I have the realization that the internet is not a place to be liked. The internet is a place to be talked about. And alhamdulillah, मेरे बारे में तो इनके मुंह बंद ही नहीं होते, चलते ही जा रहे हैं. So I'm happy about that.
कभी भी बुरा लगता है, but पढ़ते.
There was a time where I used to feel very bad. Like, I remember when I was 19 and when I had just began, I used to feel very, very personally. Like, I used to take everything personally. Ki, why are they calling me bald? Why are they calling me ugly? And I used to feel that way about myself, that I am bald. What the fuck, yaar? Kya zindagi hai? How ugly am I? Nobody will ever fall in love with me. All of that. Because I used to base my sense of self off of the internet. But now I've grown, and you know, why? As you grow on the internet, you have to give yourself also space. Kyunki bhai, when I entered the industry at the age of 19, I had no sense of this industry. And I have almost always been put in rooms that I have no knowledge on how to, you know, like go through. Like the Ambani wedding, or meeting a Karan Johar, or sitting and going to DCA for a contract at the age of 20, or going and filming 2 shows at the age of 20, all of that. Like, I've always been put in rooms that I was not prepared for. And so, till December of last year, I had no sense of who I was. I was just a mess, emotionally. And you know, like how all these people, like, they say that I'm trolling. I think they say that because of the tone of my voice. My tone is sometimes so harsh and I'm screaming and I'm yelling because that's just who I am. Like, come on.
But do you regret any of those?
No, I don't, because that's just who I was and that's what was happening in my life at that time. And even now, I still give the same critiques. I say them in a nicer tone and in a nicer voice, but my idea of the content and what I want to stand for is still the same. And is a football commentator the best football player ever? Is Navjot Singh Sidhu the best cricketer ever? But he's still the best cricket commentator. It's a very unfair expectation of a journalist or of a writer or of a tastemaker to have the resources to display that level of taste. How on earth will I have the same money as a Suhana Khan as an Ananya Pandey? And when I critique them because they're partnering with Swarovski and this and that, and they're still making tacky choices of wearing a plastic heel that you see in Sarojini or a corset that we would also not even look at. That's why that commentary makes sense. But when you sit and attack me and what I'm wearing at the age of 20, how dumb is that? How do you expect me to have the same level of fashion vibration that these people have with 10 people working for them? It's just an unfair comparison. Yeah. It's apples and oranges. So I stopped feeling bad about this. I honestly find it funny because Nayandeep, if you've seen, मतलब इन लोगों में इतनी creativity भी नहीं है कि वो खुद के dialogues लिख लें. वो मेरे ही dialogues चोरी करके मेरी ही picture पे मेरे ऊपर ही video बनाते हैं, which is basically like a 2-minute ad on me. क्योंकि वो जो dialogue,
I don't mind it.
I don't mind it. Please make more videos on me. I have to sit and comment on them now.
I have seen
the recent one. That one, this weird-looking boy has made. I don't know his name. He's made something. I've written, "K, you can do better. These are not even the worst pictures of me that exist on the internet."
I saw this.
It's like, girl, keep it moving. Like, it's really not that. It's not that deep.
Also recently, you had an altercation with Fukra.
Yes.
Right? And I saw that. Like, when you are saying that you sometimes don't get bothered by the noise around, it did hit you this time.
You know why? Because I have found that people always find a new nuance to piss me off. It's always been one thing or the other. 2 years ago when I fought with Neha Bhasin, it was because she compared me to ISIS and the terrorists. Then when I fought with Manav and Unnati, it was because they were attacking my physicality and the way I am as a person. Then when I was now blasting on Fukra, it was because he was being homophobic. If you notice, any and every time that I've been upset, it's not coming from a space of like, मेरे को कैसे बोला और मेरे पे कैसे बोल सकते हैं. ऐसे तो बहुत सारे ऐसे जो दूसरे लोग हैं जो बोलते हैं, and I don't react to those things. But I react when I think that something is fundamentally, ethically wrong. A fashion commentator does not need to be compared to a terrorist. A fashion commentator's shakal and everything does not need to be dismantled every time they say something about your outfit. Because when I say something good about their outfit, तब तो नहीं बना रहे मेरे पे reel, तब तो नहीं कर रहे मेरे पे thought processes. I make so many positive videos as well. उस पे तो नहीं आ रहे think pieces and does Sufi Motiwala deserve a career? So it's just, I cater to the biggest industry in the world, hatred. And that's made me rich and I'm happy with that.
But what do you think actually triggered this response when you spoke about Triggered Insaan?
You know, a follower of mine recently told me that all the people that have always been pissed with me have people who are actually looking musty, crusty, dusty. They were upset because I said the truth. Because they were looking bad. I mean, look at them. Look at those outfits. If you had 100 crore and itni badi haveli, would you wear something from Malhan creators?
Are they making it?
I mean, all the outfits were made by Malhan designer or something. That's what they've tagged. Would you wear that?
I don't have to see the page.
Exactly. So facts are facts, India. Like if it's just like I found that the people who are often the most upset are the ones with the most tragic fashion choices. Like the people who make good fashion choices and usme se ek aad look pe I say something bad, they never react to it because they know that when they wear something good again, I'll say something good. But with all these people, they wear bad stuff only all the time. So how will they create a good narrative for themselves? So they sit and attack me.
There was a point where I think, please correct me if I'm wrong, in the video he said that apparently Triggered has blocked you and that's why you're going on people's broadcast messages to check what they...
Firstly, how delusional is that of him to say that? What he was actually trying to say was that I was asking in my broadcast, what are they wearing? And he's made it sound like I am entering someone's broadcast or anything. Firstly, he himself is blocked by me. When I found out that Triggered blocked me, I was like, इस दूसरे भाई को क्यों रखे, इसको मैं ब्लॉक कर देता हूँ. तो I had blocked him then and there. And secondly, मुझे इनके ब्रॉडकास्ट में घुसने की कोई ज़रूरत नहीं है क्योंकि इनकी PR मरा जा रही है कि इनकी शादी के पिक्चर्स दिख जाएं सब जगह. लिटरली हर प्लेटफॉर्म पे हैं. तो I don't need to be...
But they are also popular. We can't take away that. But apparently, I read somewhere like...
But literally, girl, they were literally at the end of the... Like, while the wedding के function पे, उनकी शादी का function चल रहा है, उसमें वो लोग अपने broadcast और सब जगह लिख रहे हैं कि we have paid for a photographer, so don't worry, wait for the looks and all of that. So obviously, I get it, it's their wedding, but it is also a business model, babe. Why have Ruchika's followers gone from 1.5 to 1.7? It's just business. अगर सबको शादी का इतना ही मोह होता और हाय मेरी शादी, तो सब लोग अपनी शादी घर पे करते आराम से आलिया भट्ट की तरह, 10 दिन बाद डालते एक पोस्ट और कुछ नहीं करते. They make it a business. They do 50,000 posts. Their mother is doing a post, their sister is doing a post, the attendee is doing a post. Why? Because you want the EVM, you want the numbers. So stop acting na, stop being delusional. कि हम तो ऐसी हमारी शादी, हाय मेरी शादी पे कैसे बोल दिया? Bitch, you are literally making a YouTube video for your shadi. That's okay. And you're reacting to people, that's okay. But us commenting is not fine.
That's true.
Good God, girl, get a grip.
But I have a question to you.
Yes.
As a person from the community, I've always had this thing. You and I are different as individuals.
Yeah.
Okay. I would always agree to disagree, and most of the times agree to agree also with what you say.
Yeah.
But there are also many people from the community who I feel like, where you speak about Cosmo Awards, there are times where I've seen people from the community getting recognition after they've done more damage to the community. I don't know if you know of this creator. This creator has created multiple videos where, forget the normal person struggling with their identity somewhere in Nagpur, Kanpur, Siliguri. I'm talking about an educated person like me, who I think is very self-aware, who I think is unaffected by. I'm gonna name. And then this person got called out because apparently made everybody believe that, oh, he's going out on these multiple dates and
for free.
Yeah, and all of that, and then eventually it turned out that he was been paying all
these
those
people for
and
content.
It was a made up thing.
But Nayandeep, it's now become very common. It's not like, I don't think I would blame necessarily only Anish, who you're talking about.
Anish.
And as
He's
much
gone
as
on
I
multiple-
as much as I find it very obnoxious also, okay, why do we need to, promote all this weirdness के हम ऐसे डेट पे जा रहे हैं? मुझे तो पहले लगता है सबको अपनी अपनी पर्सनल लाइफ पर्सनली रखनी चाहिए.
Absolutely.
How my personal life has never come out in front of the internet. You still don't even know my full name. So let's start making people with a talent go famous. You can say whatever you want to say about me, but you cannot say that when I speak you don't listen. So that is the talent of speech. Let's make people with talents go famous firstly, not with people who have questionable private lives. And I just think that, a lot of us really want to be seen and be validated.
I'll tell you something. When I was seeing that, because at one point I used to consider him like a brother.
Yeah.
Okay. And I have always looked at him very fondly. I look at you also very fondly. If you go wrong, I am not the person who will go publicly and write it. I will come and tell you that, Sufi, I think this
You should have not.
I've actually said it to you also
Yeah,
once
yeah,
or
yeah,
twice,
yeah.
right? I've said the same, which is the first time. You will not believe, there was a person who messaged me and I said that, but I knew that this person is with him. I went and told him that, I need to tell you because I'm being a friend. And then he's like, oh, but that was just that was just a campaign that we did for some dating app. And I'm like, really? But even after that, I wanted to believe that maybe what he's saying is true.
But it's not just him. I think it's almost started a trend amongst creators where a lot of people are going out with these random
The
people.
worst is that these things are getting normalized is what my issue is. Like, if people are getting awarded as the LGBTQIA plus voice of the year, and then you have these people who go into those creator round tables. I think it's very, very unfortunate for the community.
He's like the Urvashi Rautela of our community, Where he says the most random things and does the most random things. But he's sweet. Based on my interactions with him, I found that he's a decent human being.
He's a good human being,
And I think on social media, everybody's just a struggle bus of their own. So I don't want to comment on his struggle bus because that just welcomes more people to comment on mine.
But would you
I would
ever
never do that.
do things for just the viewership?
No. मतलब बोलने के लिए तो मैं कुछ भी बोल दूंगा कि like while commenting on fashion or anything, but I will never showcase myself for views. Like I will never let people into my life because I think once you do that, there's no going back.
At least you won't lie, right?
Yeah, I will never lie. Whatever it is, उतना ही है, उससे ज़्यादा नहीं हो पाएगा मुझसे.
Because you called him Urvashi Rautela, let me ask you one amazing question from one Ur to another Ur. Ur के हम लोग चलते हैं उर्फी पे. मुझे आप बताइए एक चीज.
Jesus.
उर्फी
Can I
के
tell you?
साथ
But
क्या
can I tell you,
है?
y'all media people,
You know,
y'all will not let one thing go.
No, I want to know.
Anybody.
Everybody asked you this?
Yes.
Of course.
And it's like I've had to give a PC diplomatic answer to everybody because in reality, me and Urfi have not conversed since a year. We went on that show. Before that show, we had a little altercation, whatever. मतलब उसी दिन जिस दिन वो हुआ था उस दिन मैंने उससे माफ़ी मांग ली थी उसी दिन इंस्टा पे भी व्हाट्सएप पे भी सब जगह पे उसके बाद ही उसने शी डिलीटेड हर स्टोरीज एंड वी हैड सेटल्ड इट इन दैट मोमेंट ओनली कि मैंने उससे माफ़ी मांग ली है उसने मुझे बोल दिया है कि ठीक है व्हाटएवर व्हाटएवर इट्स ओवर देन नाउ व्हाट डू यू से now after the show has come out and everything has happened and now I'm doing press so now after 1.5 years people want my thoughts on this. But there are no thoughts anymore. There's nothing there. We don't follow each other. We're not in touch. I mean, she's doing her life. I'm doing mine.
You saw Apoorva's story time, right?
Of course.
And you saw what she had to say about Urfi.
Yeah.
Do you agree with it?
I just want to say that nobody can be painted a villain unless villainous content is not given. I'm sure now with the 4, 5, 6 episodes that you've seen, there's going to be a lot of villainous content of me also that's there. You know, and people can twist that into a narrative
Possibly.
however they want.
Possibly.
Raftar fans are going to attack me and say, how did this dumb person get Raftar eliminated? And Urfi people, they will all say that, how is he saying that Urfi is like this? And it's just, any statement can be turned into a different light and put on your head. So I'm very excited to see how the shenanigans and stunt shows happen tonight. But rest, me and Urfi, we have a very PC, cordial relationship. When we're on sets and we're on work commitments together, we talk to each other, we chill with each other. When we step out from that room, we don't message each other, we don't call each other.
But my last question would be, because you were a spectator. See, we are getting to see only parts of the conversation.
Yeah.
The whole conversation also happened where Urfi actually shared screenshots of Apoorva's messages, right?
Yeah.
So it did show that they don't like really hate each other, but they were trying to like
But that's not
whatever.
it, you know. Urfi was still blocked. Even when Apoorva had messaged her, and even when she posted the story time, and even when she posted the stories, all that while Urfi was blocked only from her Insta. So their fight is very much real.
Yeah, it's very much real, but I'm
But
saying
what
like,
Apoorva was
what
trying
happened
to
actually
do-
that day? Is it
What
Urfi
Apoorva-
has said that Apoorva abused her first?
No. I'll tell you what the true tea is. Okay, I guess I am the one giving this. I feel very sorry if anybody feels offended. Why am I talking about this? I don't know. But
you are asked, so you're
what happened is basically she posted the story time. Urfi took it in a lens that she's being attacked. When in reality, Apoorva is just doing a retelling of what has happened and what you can see on the television that Urfi said this to her and then she hated each other or whatever. I have not seen the full story time myself. But that's what the vibes is, that they hate each other. Then the screenshots came up that Apoorva is asking Urfi, will you come on my story time or anything? That is a conversation that Apoorva was having with every single cast member. Because she wanted to do an episodic thing where she would react and one person from the season would come and react with her. And you can see that she's saying that we'll resolve it in the shoot. मतलब अभी कुछ resolve नहीं हुआ है, हम shoot में resolve कर लेंगे और फिर we'll let people hear your side. But instead, what did Urfi do? She flopped the whole thing for herself. I mean, she could have literally had that moment, at the end, but she didn't.
No, what actually happened there?
They fought each other. They fought with each other. And they didn't become friends after the show ended.
That exact point where they were friends and they
Oh,
have
so
two different sides of that.
basically what had happened was that after the mission had ended, the Blue Bridge mission that we've seen, I was having a full-on crash out because I had fallen down and all of that. And then Apoorva started having a crash out because she was missing her family and all of that. While she was breaking down, everybody was jumping onto her, like Urfi, Mukesh ji, everybody. Kya hua? And we all know that when someone's heavy on emotions, they want to be left alone. So she just snapped at them in the sense कि दूर रहो मुझसे 5 minutes and all of that. But everybody just took it upon themselves कि ये तो हमसे झगड़ा कर रही है और ये तो हमको बोल रही है. When in reality, she was just asking for space in general. And then everybody took it upon themselves and everybody reacted on it in a very टेस्ट में कि ये कैसे बोल दिया हमें कि हमसे दूर रहो and all of that. And I think like they should have just acted as mature adults and given a 22-year-old space.
But you
It's
know her
just
better,
her
so-
language.
Yeah.
Like you have to give her a little more benefit of the doubt that wo matlab on the show I have seen how much Raftaar and Apoorva were fond of each other. But then right now this one dialogue, then she said ke Raftaar benchut kya bolta hai. Now people have picked it and taken it out of context and blown it apart. When in reality they were like literally like besties the duration that both of them were there. So like it's just that मतलब हर इंसान की अलग-अलग बोलने की भाषा
Yeah, but
होती है.
sometimes for a normal
But
person,
yeah,
it may come across as badtameez.
but this is
I'm
a
being
good, like,
honest. That's
now,
the only problem.
But now when she sees this interview, I hope that she will realize and be more mindful about the way
Yeah,
she
and I
talks in
mean it in
public.
the nicest
Because
way.
because all of us like love her. We have the greatest of respect and like, matlab she's a fun one, yeah.
I don't know her, but I feel bad for her for what she's been through. So that's why I'm just saying it as an audience. Maybe this is something
And I'll
that could
relate
have
to
been-
her, that,
Yeah,
you know.
And I want to tell you that you are unapologetic.
Yeah.
And that's the best part about you.
Thank you.
There are people who may not agree with what you say. Okay. There are people who may not agree with the tonality of the things that you say. But I'll tell you something. I've never seen you abuse when you're critiquing.
Yeah.
Okay. Or cross a line of decency. Maybe your tonality, even I have said it. That
yeah,
sometimes
that
just
I'm,
cut it down and-
that I'm screaming or
Yeah.
yelling. But that's also like, I found that it was my displaced anger
Yeah,
that
this
used
is-
to show up in my videos, which now has gone away because
Yeah.
like once I was aware of that, I let it go. I
Yeah.
am all for constructive criticism.
जाते जाते यही पूछूंगा कि अगर आप करण जौहर होते तो आप किन तीन को बनाते ट्रेटर बिकॉज यू फील दैट दे वुड हैव प्लेड द गेम रियली रियली वेल
I think, honestly, can I say, I am very happy with the way this season was. Yeah, I think that it was
All these
so
three
beautiful.
people,
Yeah, I think it was the most left field choice, unpredictable. हम लोग guess भी नहीं कर पा रहे थे. I think they were very nicely
बट फिर भी
chosen.
अगर आप चूज करते
I would choose Karan Kundra instead of Raj because Karan has more reality TV experience, so I would want to give him the upper hand. I would choose me because it would be very iconic to see me actually not being able to do the Traitors role nicely because I would have panicked fully. And I think Elnaz is a very good choice
Yeah.
because she's actually
played it very well.
giving, like she's an actress and she's acting.
Yeah.
So I love that.
I also feel Jannat would have been somebody who
No.
would have pulled it off and people wouldn't have doubted her
No,
for
because Jannat, if she was the traitor, she would have been like Purav. She would have been too silent. She would have been sussed out very easily. Because Jannat was not someone who was she was not quick with the observations, but when she got them, she was in with them. But if she was the traitor, she would have not even made the mehnat of making an observation, which would have really made it obvious that she's the traitor.
But thank you so much,
Of
Sufi,
course.
for being you and continue being you.
Yes.
Now I think you are in a space where you know who
What's
you are
good and what's bad.
and you know what you stand for, and whoever will like you,
I'm in
whoever.
the star era.
Thank you.
Yes, love you. Thank you so much.